Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin as we are heading into 2024. Not quite, not yet, but very soon. Last day of 2023. What a year. So first of all, I wish you all a great start to 2024. Make sure that you have defined your New Year's resolutions, and and that's important. Also think about them think about your goals, objectives for your investment portfolios, trading portfolios, for your crypto portfolio, but also your overall portfolio. I've done that, still refining it, but I think it's something very something very useful. And actually, if you can't measure yourself, you're blind basically. So having something in place to constantly assess your portfolios and to define where you want to go is very important. Now, if you haven't even got goals, then don't be surprised if you fail as investor or trader. Very important, because if you don't know where to go, right, you cannot make it work in your daily practices. Very important. Okay, so Bitcoin on the daily time frame, it could turn into something like a triangle. That's of course a little bit too early because we haven't got enough waves to confirm this is some kind of a triangle. But honestly, Bitcoin is obviously again in a very, very boring sideways holding pattern. I remember when I highlighted it it was months ago, that probably before the end of the year, and some of you will remember that if you've been watching the videos. I haven't mentioned it most recently, but probably months ago, that usually before, sort of towards the end of the year, we're going to see boring wave 4 sideways action. What I didn't really account for and assume that at the time was that the altcoins are gonna keep us busy, right? Which is great, because I assumed it would be a very, very boring, last couple of weeks of the year, whereas it is for Bitcoin, but actually the altcoins keep it really interesting, which is great. But yeah, Bitcoin is in that in that wave 4. So the thing is, wave 4s can turn into triangles. Again, I haven't got enough waves for a real triangle. We would need something like that. So let's assume the wave 4 that the price is in would turn into a triangle. I mean, that would have to be an A, B, C. Okay, maybe complete, but we still need a wave D and an E. The thing is, I'm very careful with triangles because they, by the way, this would break to the upside, because they usually morph into something different. Yeah, they turn into something different usually. So we've seen it on the Matic chart, not usually, but very often. Okay, they very often turn into something different on the crypto charts, especially. So it could turn into a more complex WXY pattern. It could be that the B wave is a triangle. It's very, very difficult. Best approach is to understand where is support, which is here at $34,060, and then assume that against that level we can still focus on higher. And the next high, which is still assumed to happen, as per my scenarios on the chart. And I will not assume that anymore below 34,060. Then we're looking at a much stronger drawdown. But it should take us to 50K plus. So the main question is it going to happen more directly, or are we going to see that C wave down, which I still would like to see because it gives us some clarity. What I want to mention is Bitcoin is currently testing this trend line from below. I think we talked about that trend line in the previous daily videos, or videos where I showed the daily time frame. That's just something to mention here. This ascending trend line that has a few touch points, 3 touch points really. Then we broke through it, and now it might just be a retest. Okay, see here. So we've got 3 touch points, maybe 4, and this one as well. So 4, 5, and then this could just be a retest. So retest fails, if Bitcoin really gets a sustained break above $43,270. But that's just something to mention. Doesn't affect the Elliott Wave count at all. So let's go to a shorter time frame. And here we see it in detail. I haven't got the trend line on the chart here, but the idea is, again, still that Bitcoin is in this wave 4. Finished the wave 3 here. That was on the 8th of December, 9th of December. And we're forming this A, B, C structure. Bitcoin rallying a little bit today, if you want to call that a rally. It's nothing significant, at least not yet. But I warned you that we have to prepare for quick ups and downs in this market. But the thing is, Bitcoin is actually reducing volatility all the time here. And we also see, I'm not sure, do we actually see that reduction in volume most likely in these triangle patterns? Typically. So if we go to the daily time frame, let's see, maybe not. Yeah, there's a reduction in volume since the I mean, if it's a triangle, again, you know, it's too early to really predict that, but it certainly starts to look like one. You get this reduction in volume. Sometimes when you have that and you get a break out of this trend line on the volume indicator, it could be a real proper breakout. Let's see if we can actually... Yeah, but I only have 2 touch points of this trend line. Not sure how reliable it is, but when you get a real breakout, then yeah, I mean, it might be an indicator that we are breaking up. But when volume shows in crypto, it's often too late anyway. So that's why I usually don't use volume. But it's just characteristic of a triangle that volume is reducing and also volatility. Now, looking at this again, until the market still, you know, gives me better options, I'm going to watch for an A, B, C structure with a C wave down. It's been coming down slowly, but as I mentioned, not really impulsively. When something's not coming down impulsively, it might turn into a diagonal pattern, or which it has, or it might turn into something different. Yeah, like a triangle, we might see a reset of the B wave. We have to just be flexible about it. I think, you know, to avoid the chop, anybody who wants to avoid the chop, stay on the higher time frame, as I've just shown you on the daily time frame. The key support is $34,060, $34,070, and against that level, you know, the trend is basically up. So that's sort of what I'm watching, and while also observing for potential transformations into triangle patterns. And they can take different routes. So once I see more clarity there, I'll let you know. Until then, I'm watching the recent high here at 43,000, yeah, roughly $820, which is the wave 2 high. This B wave can technically extend all the way to that level. Only above that, I would have to change the wave count. And yeah, Bitcoin hasn't come close yet, but it might do it, you know, and then the question will be, okay, what is it? So I will then probably assume, okay, we're resetting wave B a little higher. That's one option, getting to an overshooting B wave, or indeed is going to form some kind of a triangle, like as I showed you, A wave, B wave, C wave, D wave. As long as it stays below 44,450, that would be valid, and so on. And then this, you know. Difficult to say which direction it's going to go now. We haven't even broken above the recent highs, but obviously the next resistance levels are defined. They have been mentioned, and big, you know, important takeaway is we're still in a corrective pattern. There's currently, at least currently while I make this video, no evidence that the low is in, and I would still like it to go lower. But again, it takes time, and it probably is going to be a boring Sunday. Yeah, that's my update about Bitcoin. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.